Some of the most meaningful jewelry you own isn't new. It's inherited. A ring from a grandmother, a necklace full of memories but no longer your style. Duke's Jewelers reimagines family heirlooms into custom pieces you'll actually wear and love. Working one-on-one, Duke's designers honor the original story while creating something fresh and modern. Don't let meaningful jewelry sit unused. Let it live on beautifully. Visit Duke's Jewelers in Springville or online at dukesjewelers.com, where old stories become new treasures.
Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
It's time to break down the biggest stories of the day. This is the top 3 stories of the day on KSLSports.com. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It is time for the top 3 stories of the day. KSLSports.com, brought to you by J. Brooks Jewelers. Explore their expertly crafted engagement rings made from the finest materials. J. Brooks Jewelers. All right, Christian, where do you want to start today?
Number 1, Utah State gets their guy.
Ben Jacobson is going to be the new head coach at Utah State. He comes over from Northern Iowa, 55 years old, which I do think is a big part of the story, and signs a 5-year deal. This is a coach who spent the last 20 years at Northern Iowa, has averaged 20 wins a game, probably had a lifetime contract as long as he wanted to be there, but decided to make the jump to Utah State, where he's going to be making, I'd imagine, more money and continue to have a chance to compete for conference titles.
This has a very kind of a Stu Morrill-esque feel to it, which I like. Going with the up-and-comers, again, has been very successful, and I wouldn't blame them if they would have gone that direction again. And maybe this guy does leave in 2 years.
Yeah,
maybe he's decided finally.
He's not 65.
Yeah, maybe he's decided finally to climb the ladder. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that he stayed at a small program for 20 years and didn't stay there because he was an average coach. He stayed there because he obviously wanted to. I mean, the same way with Stu. He averages well over 20 wins a season with Utah State.
Yeah.
He could have taken any number of jobs.
Right.
He just didn't. I'm guessing that Ben Jacobson could have taken any number of jobs, but decided that he wanted to stay for whatever reason. He was happy or whatever. So this does ring to me like maybe somebody that has a chance of, as long as he likes Logan, I suppose, sticking around for a little bit. The other thing I really like about it, Ben, is because this guy learned how to win with nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, Northern Iowa, they don't have any resources.
He's probably won with a lot of guys like you win with it at Utah State.
He's got
less talented.
He's had to coach up players, figure out a way to keep them without any resources and be competitive and win. And I think that's important. Not that Utah State has fewer resources than Northern Iowa. I'm sure that's not true. But Utah State is going to probably be in the middle to the bottom of the Pac-12 when it comes to resources. So to have a coach that's going to make a dollar out of a dime, or at least has experience doing that, I think is probably a pretty good thing.
He won 4 Missouri Valley Conference titles during the regular season. He won 5 tournament titles. So he's been to the tournament, 5-6 times in his career. He's been there a lot, or 9 times in his career. So, this is a good history. This is a guy who's won a lot. And, I guess the question is does he view Utah State as like, well, this was my ability to cash in? Because I believe they're paying him pretty well to get him to jump from Northern Iowa because he has been able to win there. Or is he saying, hey, this is a chance to springboard to the next job where I've seen these other guys get paid? But regardless.
And honestly, I don't know, but there is a chance he says I can win at Utah State and I can be the head coach there for as long as I want, which is true if he wins.
And he has won. He has got a great resume. We'll see if he's bringing players with him. I don't know. We'll see who he's able to retain at Utah State. I don't know. But I think this is a good hire. I mean, at its face, we don't know if it's going to work out, obviously. But
and I don't know anything about this guy, so I have no idea. Yeah. But I like the concept of him.
And I will say the Missouri Valley Conference is a very good basketball conference. It punches well above its weight. And you can look at the teams that have been in it: Belmont, Bradley, Illinois State, Murray State, Valpo. Like, we have seen these teams be dangerous in the tournament seemingly every year when they get there. So he knows how to win against those teams and has himself been that team. So good for Utah State, good for Ben Jacobson.
I just hope for the Aggies' sake that Mason Falso likes him.
Agreed. Most importantly.
Hi, this is Alex Kantrowitz. I'm the host of Big Technology Podcast, a longtime reporter and an on-air contributor to CNBC. And if you're like me, you're trying to figure out how artificial intelligence is changing the business world and our lives. So each week on Big Technology, I bring on key actors from companies building AI tech and outsiders trying to influence it, asking where this is all going. They come from places like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Amazon, and plenty more. So if you want to be smart with your wallet, your career choices, in meetings with your colleagues, and at dinner parties, listen to Big Technology Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
All right, what's next?
Number 2, the Jazz had a game in Phoenix on Saturday. I think nobody must have told them that or something. They might have forgot to show up.
Second night of a back-to-back, and on Friday night they played very well in Denver, so I wasn't terribly surprised. But again, we know what this Jazz season has been about, and they are coasting towards that now. This was about holding on to this year's pick, and they nearly beat Denver and kind of put that into some doubt. But Dallas did go on the road and win at the Portland Trailblazers. So now with, what did the Jazz have, 7 games left? The Jazz are 3 wins behind the Dallas Mavericks and I think 2 wins still ahead of the Sacramento Kings. The Jazz are going to finish with the 5th worst record in the NBA, which means they have a 99.4% chance of holding on to the pick.
It doesn't matter.
I will tell you that's the priority.
They're going to lose the pick either way. It doesn't matter. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
I do not believe Adam Silver is picking specifically on the Jazz, though I know they did get hit with a $500,000 fine. So did the Pacers. They got hit with not a $500,000 fine, but
they ain't getting the first pick either.
Yeah, they're well, most likely they're definitely not getting the first overall pick, but the Jazz are doing everything they can, minus going to the 4th seed, which they're not going to get to hold on to this pick. And
they really should have gotten to 4 and left no doubt.
The Jazz are, that would certainly make some fans.
By the way, I'm kidding. Although I do think the NBA has no problem picking on the Jazz. I do think that's a thing. And I do think that sometimes the NBA maybe gets a little creative with who gets what pick. I don't rule that out.
Sure.
But I think it's likely the Jazz keep their pick, obviously.
It's 1 in 175 chance that they lose the pick. So it's still possible.
Dallas had a 1% chance of getting the number 1 pick last year.
Sure. So
the Jazz got jumped by all 3 teams.
Yeah, 4.
4.
Yeah, they fell
by
from 1
4
to 5.
teams.
And the Jazz have never had a lot of lottery luck. They traditionally move down. On average, they move down because they've only moved up once with that Nets pick. But I know there were a lot of Jazz fans that were doing a lot of hand-wringing late in the season and calling Will Hardy an idiot and thinking the Jazz were not focused on the lottery and thinking, they don't know what they're doing.
Those people aren't watching. Because I don't know how you can have that take if you're watching every game.
Sure.
If you've seen the extent that Will Hardy has gone to lose basketball games, Denver being a primary candidate.
Anderson Garcia played 48 straight minutes. That's weird.
This is the...
Who?
Yeah, right.
You cannot ask young players to boot games. You can't.
You can't ask anyone to boot games.
You can't ask players to boot games. You can't. So Bozo 1, 2, 3, 4 on Twitter, like Will Hardy cannot pull Anderson Garcia, who's no longer on the team, but they can't pull him aside and say, stop rebounding the basketball.
Right.
He can't pull Bryce Sensabaugh aside and say, I need you to miss these shots on purpose.
Yep.
You can't ask players to do that.
Nope.
And, this wasn't the case in Denver, but like we've been talking about with all these just wretched Eastern Conference teams, short of asking players to lose on purpose and to take a dive, I don't know what else they could have done. They haven't had a center in months. Ever since Nurk went down with the beak injury, they haven't had a center in months.
Cody started at center. Anderson Garcia has started at center. Ace has played some center.
They haven't played Kevin Love.
Correct. Yeah, Kevin Love is sitting there. You know who got on the floor the other night? Svi. Out of nowhere.
Stop it. Really?
11 minutes, 14 points. He came in and just shredded. He shredded the Suns. It was hilarious.
Svi HT.
11 minutes, 14 points, 5 of
Let
6
the man
from the
eat.
floor.
I totally don't blame him.
Yeah. No, he went out and absolutely right. He's like, I've been waiting for this.
For a long time now.
He had not played since March 2nd.
Yeah. He came in and just shredded.
The Jazz against the Nuggets didn't play Phil.
They rested Cody Williams in the fourth quarter. They pulled Cody with 10 minutes left in the fourth. They're like, we got to figure out a way to lose this game.
Anybody clowning Hardy for not trying hard enough to lose, which is such a funny insult or a funny criticism. Yeah. Like, I beg to differ.
Yeah.
I think he's going to great lengths not to win these basketball games. They made a behind-the-scenes deal with the Wizards to split it.
Yeah.
In my theory.
But the Jazz have positioned themselves to do what they need to. Tonight, Donovan Mitchell back in town with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I wonder how hard they're going to have to try to lose to Donovan.
You just never know. Some of these teams roll into Salt Lake and just think the season is over, and it's not. These young players are still fighting for their lives, and I don't think the Jazz are going to beat enough teams for it to matter, but we will see.
What's next?
Number 3, the Utah Mammoth, fighting for the number 1 wildcard spot. They got a big win at the LA Kings, 6-2.
Can't win at home. In fact, only won one game in the month of March at home. They went 1-6-0, which had they won a couple of those, I think this wild card would have already been wrapped up. But to their credit, when it looked like they were falling apart, which has kind of been the story of the season, they did find a way to battle back and then got a huge one. What was it, 6-2? I mean, that was a pretty dominant victory. They were up 3-1 after one over the Kings, and the Kings are in the third place spot right now for the wild card. So had they lost that game and the Kings had won, they would have been only up 4 points on the team trying to displace them and would have been only 1 point ahead of Nashville. Nashville, who was red hot, has suddenly lost 3 in a row. So the Mammoth are still 5 points up on that top wild card spot.
And 6 up on the Kings. But the number I'm keeping an eye on, Ben, is what Nick Olczyk told us to watch, 90 to 95. That's where they've got to get to lock down that first wild card position.
8 games left to play. They're at 82, so that would be 4 more wins to get to 90.
So keep an eye on that number.
Yep, and the more the better. But they are playing very well on the road. And now they've got this crazy long break. Again, we get these weird spots. They don't play again until Thursday. They played on Saturday, so they're getting a lot of rest right now before they step back out there and get back in action on the road at Seattle.
Got to figure out a way to get those W's.
Yep.
All right, stay tuned. More Jake and Ben coming up next, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hi, this is Alex Kantrowitz. I'm the host of Big Technology Podcast, a longtime reporter and an on-air contributor to CNBC. And if you're like me, you're trying to figure out how artificial intelligence is changing the business world and our lives. So each week on Big Technology, I bring on key actors from companies building AI tech and outsiders trying to influence it, asking where this is all going. They come from places like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Amazon, and plenty more. So if you want to be smart with your wallet, your career choices, in meetings with your colleagues, and at dinner parties, listen to Big Technology Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.